Birds in with 10 existing, those 2 are going to have a really hard time making it. Okay, the 10 will dominate. They'll keep them away from food and water because they're just outnumbered. And depending on the temperament of the breed, if they're a real docile breed, they won't even try. They'll go over in their corner and they won't eat and they won't drink because they're not going to push the limits. So the way you can do that is take 2 of your existing birds and set up a transition house. Take 2 of your existing birds and put it in with your 2 new birds and let them have 2 or 3 days to get used to one another. Now you've got 4 and 8, okay? Take another couple of those birds and blend them in. And then when you get kind of even numbers, then you can kind of put them all together, and that's the way to do that. On baby birds, introducing them into an adult flock, you want to make sure that they are at least 15 weeks old, where that's going to be the point in time they're about the same body size, so they have a little bit of a fighting chance in the pecking order, okay? And if they start laying, that's even the better time. But a lot of times you don't have the extra space and you want to try and get them in as soon as possible. You want to wait until they're at least up about the same body size. And again, based on the numbers, you may want to mix a couple of your older hens in with the younger brood first so that they get used to one another. But there will always be, even if we separate our birds into breed pens in along about December because we start hatching in January. We separate them all out, and then when we're done with the hatching season, they all go back into the larger barn where they've got space. There's always, they ruffle the feathers and they squawk at one another. The best time to introduce them, also, the best time of the day to introduce them is late in the evening, right before they go on the roost. Once they get on the roost with one another, the next morning when the sun comes up, pretty much the whole pecking order issue has been resolved. And so it's just a way to kind of limit the amount of time that they're gonna figure out who's the top bird. Most of you, if you live in environments that have restrictions on how many poultry or a noise ordinance, you won't have roosters. One of the hens in that flock is going to become the dominant hen. And it may look like she's being mean. And what a lot of times people do is say, well, I've got one hen that she's just mean to all the other hens, so I got rid of her. What happens? Within a couple weeks, there's another one of those hens that's being mean to everybody. Why? In their social order, one will rise up and be in control. The minute that happens, the rest of the birds go, well, I don't have anything to worry about. She's in charge. If a predator comes around, she's going to be the one that goes out and fights it. And the lower the stress environment on the rest of the flock, the better they're going to produce, the less stress they're going to have, the less susceptibility they're going to have to germs in the environment causing any problem with their immune system. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
I hated it when I would breed. I would introduce my little young ones that were maybe half the size of the chickens, and they'd get chased and pecked at and scared into corners. And I found a solution